I sometimes wonder if life gives us hints about our future before we're old enough to understand them. Looking back, I realize my entire story, our story, was written long before either of us knew how to read it. The very first time I met Daniel, we were both 5 years old. My family had just moved into the little yellow house with the crooked shutters, and his was 2 doors down, the one with the basketball hoop above the garage. He came rolling down the street on a scooter, his knees already scraped from earlier adventures. He stopped, squinted at me with the seriousness only a 5-year-old can have, and asked, "Do you like ice cream?" I said yes. He grinned and replied, "Good. We can be friends." And just like that, we were. We grew up inseparable. He was the boy who shared his crayons when mine broke, the one who showed up at my door with worms in his hands because he thought I needed to see how cool they were. Summers were endless parades of bicycles, chalk drawings on the driveway, sticky fingers from melting popsicles, and sleepovers where we'd stay up whispering about the big things in life, like who was the fastest runner or whether Santa Claus could really visit every house in one night. There was a huge oak tree at the end of the street. That tree was our kingdom. We climbed its branches, carved our initials into the bark, and told each other secrets no one else would ever hear. At 10, I swore I would never marry anyone. He promised he'd never cut his hair short because, according to him, long hair makes me run faster. We were silly, reckless, wild, and free. And in all those years, I never once stopped to imagine that those afternoons might someday become the foundation of my entire life. It happened slowly, not in one moment, but in 1,000 little ones. When we were 12, I fell off my bike and scraped my arm badly. Everyone else laughed, but Daniel didn't. He took off his own shirt and wrapped it around my arm, walking me home in silence. At 13, when the girls at school started whispering about crushes, I noticed they looked at him differently. I didn't like it. I didn't understand why I didn't like it. By 14, something between us had changed. I would catch myself watching him when he wasn't looking. His laugh sounded different, deeper, warmer. I remember sitting on the swings at dusk, pretending not to notice how close his hand was to mine. Everyone else saw it before we did. My mother teased me about that boy who practically lives here. His friends nudged him when I walked by. We laughed it off. "Just friends," we said. Always just friends. But on my 16th birthday, everything broke open. It was a warm summer evening. He handed me a small box, his face uncharacteristically nervous. Inside was a simple silver necklace with a tiny charm shaped like a star. "I know it's not much," he said, rubbing the back of his neck, "but you always said you wanted to hold a star, so—" I didn't let him finish. I hugged him, too tightly, too long, and when I pulled away, I saw it, the truth shining in his eyes. That was the night I knew. And soon after, under our oak tree, he leaned forward and kissed me. It was clumsy and sweet and absolutely perfect. High school was full of firsts, first dates, first arguments, first heartbreaks, though always with each other. He'd wait for me after class, holding his skateboard in one hand and my books in the other. I'd cheer for him at basketball games, my voice hoarse from screaming his name. But growing up means change, and change isn't always gentle. By senior year, the talk of college hung over us like a storm cloud. He wanted to study engineering in Chicago. I wanted to study literature in New York. We promised we'd make it work, but promises are fragile things at 18. The night before he left, we sat beneath our oak tree. He held my hand, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "No matter what happens, it's always you." I wanted to believe it. The years that followed were some of the hardest. We wrote letters, sent texts, called late into the night. But distance has a way of stretching thin the strongest threads. Weeks turned into months where we barely spoke. I dated someone else, so did he. There were times I thought we were done for good, and yet every holiday we found our way back. Back to our little neighborhood, back to late-night walks, back to the oak tree. We'd talk until dawn, catching up on everything and nothing, always finding that underneath the silence The connection had never left. The summer after graduation, I came home exhausted, uncertain about my future. He was there, standing on my porch like no time had passed at all. We walked, as we always did, to the oak tree, and there, under its branches, he finally said the words I'd been waiting to hear for years. "I'm done running around. I'm done wondering. It's always been you, since we were kids, since that first popsicle, since every stupid fight and every letter I never sent. It's you." And for the first time in years, I didn't feel scared. I just felt home. We got married under that oak tree. Fairy lights sparkled in its branches, and our initials, carved there decades earlier, watched over us. As I walked down the aisle, I didn't just see the man waiting for me. I saw the boy with scraped knees offering me worms, the teenager with trembling hands holding a necklace, the young man whispering promises under the stars. When we exchanged vows, I told him, "You've been in every chapter of my story, and now you're my forever." Years later, our daughter runs through the same streets we once ruled. She climbs the oak tree with her messy hair and fearless grin. Sometimes I sit on the porch and watch Daniel chase her, his laughter echoing down the block. And in those moments, I realize something simple and profound. Ours isn't a fairy tale. It's better. It's real. It's messy. It's full of mistakes and second chances and relentless love. Every time he takes my hand, even now, I'm reminded of that first summer when a boy asked me if I liked ice cream, and I said yes. And somehow, that was the beginning of forever.